This should be good.
Welcome back to another episode of the Critics Collective. I am not mute, so we are doing well. All right, so I'm Legacy Lingo. I got the Dad Panther here with me. We want to thank you guys for joining us. We are reviewing You're Cordially Invited, which is the prime original movie starring Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon. I want to thank everybody, though, before we move forward, that's been supporting this page. You guys, we appreciate you. We couldn't do it without you. You guys are blowing us up, and if you are new to us and you like what we're doing, please hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button and make sure you turn on the alert so you can join the collective community. We are on the road to 2,000, so let's just keep it moving. So the IMDb synopsis has this as: when two weddings are double booked at the same venue, the father of one bride and the sister of the other bride try to preserve the wedding weekend. Dad Panther, your initial impression when you first came across this?
My initial impression was this going to be a rom-com. It's going to be a night where I can put the little one to sleep, get Mrs. Panther on the couch and just watch somewhere. I'm gonna get something as a guy with Will. She's gonna get what she needs from Reese, and that's it. Expectations low. Didn't know anything about the story, but the rom-com.
The rom-com. So for me, I didn't think it was gonna be a rom-com. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really just thought it was gonna be some slapstick, me against you type of situation. I'm going to do whatever I can to get what I want in a situation. You do whatever you can. And it was just going to be crazy all out war. I didn't think rom-com in the least. So,
okay.
All right. So highs and lows for me, the high, Reese Witherspoon was actually hot in this movie. I've never looked at her in that way. And for some reason, her little fit arms and her tight hair, I was looking at, I was like, Reese, Reese Witherspoon, and then the girl who also played her sister, Meredith Hagner. They were very beautiful, and then it's just a very beautiful cast. So there was, but those two, I was like, wow. I've seen them in a bunch of stuff. For some reason, they really popped on this one. They really stood out. All right,
you motorboating mother. You, which one was it? You mother.
Anyway, so moving on. I do like the concept of the story. I do like the situation, the way it's placed. You got your double booked wedding, the venue, and all these people are here, and it's like, well, we're here now, so let's try to work this out. But as far as my lows, the one thing that bothered me the most is that it did become a rom-com, but it became a rom-com so late in the movie. I felt like it started off where it was cutesy wootsy, and I was waiting for the other shoe to drop and the war to begin. And then all of a sudden it became more slapstick and more goofy, more silly type humor. And I'm more of a fan of the witty humor. And I understand Will Ferrell's not the type to give you that wittiness all the time, but I was hoping that other people around him would be able to come with that kind of witty humor that where you got to actually, catch the joke instead of it just being like, I threw a piece of cake in your face. Great. Ha ha ha. Or I tripped you up. Ha ha ha. Or I'm yelling and I don't know why type, and that's what we were getting. So I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden there's a shift later in the movie where it becomes a rom-com, and everything that they were dropping up to that point did not really build it up. It was almost like, everybody else was feeling this situation that I didn't feel like they did a good job developing. And I'm like, don't tell me this is going to be a thing. Oh shit, it's a thing. And I was like, oh man, this sucks. All right. So that was a big problem for me. The humor wasn't landing. Then it became like two separate movies. And then honestly, they didn't do a good job of making me like a couple of the main characters because of the awkward moments they had. Will Ferrell and his daughter had a moment that was disgusting to me, and it made me feel weird about them. And then Reese Witherspoon, I didn't believe it made sense for her character when she did or said whatever she said to trigger things. I was like, that was kind of like out of left field. I mean, she's supposed to be a good person. I don't like you, so I felt like it should have been another character that did those things, and maybe a misunderstanding to keep this overlapping thing going. And then later realize, oh wait, that wasn't you. Oh, I'm so sorry. True rom-com style. This one actually made you be like, why would she say that? If somebody said that shit about my daughter, there's no way we would come back for that. Okay. But that's how I feel about it. Tell me, Dad Panther, how did you feel about it, sir?
I I sat back and I just couldn't believe what this movie was, because I was thinking, like I said before, it was a rom-com, and this movie unfortunately had 3 different acts. It was like being at the wedding at the after party where there was a catering, but they didn't bring you the food. It was a buffet. And if you see a buffet at a wedding, it's just not the right type of thing. And so the fact that it was like, hey, I got a little bit of act 1 where the movie's going to be like this, and act 2 is going to be like this, and act 3, it just didn't fit. Now I do love the cast and what they look like. I thought the fashion, the setting was smooth. Reese, her sister, the ladies were looking good. I mean, even I enjoyed the character. I know a lot of people believe she's annoying, but the character that's been in Abbott and some other stuff on my block, where she was like the best friend who was putting the whole wedding and everything together. You'll see that character. I enjoyed her being annoying for what she is. She's typecasted as that, and as long as she's catching a check, I'm fine with it. But at the end of the day, sitting there with my wife, trying to, not to say that this movie was to get the mood going, I just had to look at it and say, at times, Gator don't play no shit. Okay, Gator ain't never been about that. Never been about that. And so to sit here and watch this movie and have to just not be the Gator that I know, it was sad and depressing. On the low end, I would say there was no significant storyline. Every time they switched it, you were just as confused as the rest of the cast. It seems you were just as awkwardly dispositioned as 2 adults who are singing, that's like Afternoon Delight, and it makes no sense. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's just stuff like that. There's a full Gator in there, and it just doesn't flow. It doesn't hit on the mark. It feels like you're in a wedding, and it's awkward because you don't know any of the people getting married, and you realize halfway through it, this isn't even the wedding that you're supposed to be in, and you're underdressed. So the good thing about this movie is the movie ended, to be honest, that it had a really solid first act.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even know about that, but all right. So but I guess it was better than the other 2. All right, the first act, yeah. That's another point I want to make before we rate this thing, is that even once this war kicked off, what they were doing to sabotage was so minute. It was weak, and I was like, "Is that the best you got?" Like, it was just underwhelming. Like, I watched it for the tit for tat, and it was very weak. Let's read this thing, and because I know you don't even want me to go through the spiel of pulling up these graphics.
You can. It's not as bad as the Electric State. Go check out our review to the Electric State.
Well,
go see that one.
Well, the Electric State, you wouldn't let me pull up the graphics. I'm pulling up the graphics here. All right. So we're going to rate this thing in true critics collective fashion. We have accolades going from 0 to 5. 5 accolades being excellent, a must-watch, highly recommended for all viewers. That's not going to happen here. 4 accolades, good, worth watching, but has notable flaws. 3 accolades, average, some enjoyable moments, but lack significant impact. 2 accolades, below average, some redeeming qualities, but generally disappointing. 1 accolade, poor quality, not recommended, or 0 accolades, horrible, absolute trash. The Dad Panther.
This movie made me think about what I did with the Electric State. The Electric State is a 0. All right. If you go back and you saw that, it's a 0. All right. And for this one, I'm going to say this one's a 2. It's not horrible. It's not horrible. I can't necessarily recommend it, but if it's there, go ahead and watch it. Is it a train wreck, like watching TLC, where it's like the 90-day wedding type stuff? No, it's not that train wreck, but it's one of those weddings you go to and you're like, they ain't gonna last. They ain't gonna last.
Yeah. It's funny. You're like, go watch that review. I'm gonna tell you what I gave it. All right, so.
But I didn't. I actually updated it. So if you watch that one, you're like, oh, he gave it a, and I'm not going to tell you, go watch it.
All right.
Subscribe, like, follow, all the other stuff. And then you watch it now, you're like, oh, he changed his mind.
Okay. Well, here we go. I'm giving it a 2 also, for the simple fact that there were moments where I did laugh out loud, and it's a comedy. That's what you're supposed to. You're supposed to laugh. They did give me a few of those, but it just wasn't enough for me to overall enjoy the movie, the experience as a whole. Somebody else may get more from it, but when you get names like Will Ferrell, I have high expectations, and maybe if they would have gave us this, maybe with somebody, I still would have hated it. No,
because I went back and I watched Bridesmaids, and I watched Wedding Crashers because I was just in that vibe. And there was some other one, I can't remember, where it was like two families against each other. Like, I don't know if it was a field day or something. And that competitiveness, you didn't get that from this. So it's just like,
it was weak.
It's like,
Yeah.
there's some people that got it right and this didn't.
It's a 1. It's a 1. I'm sorry.
Damn. There you go, Your Honor.
It's a 1.
I rest my case.
All right. Listen, if you guys do watch this, watch it at your own risk and then come back in the comments and let us know how you feel about it. It is available on Amazon Prime. I don't even know.
It's funny because I don't even know if this is from Wedding Crashers, but at one point my wife went to the bathroom and she said, "Let it play." I'm like, no, I'll pause it for you. She said, "Let it play." Yes. And I'm only watching it for her. And I'm sitting there yelling, "You left me in the trenches to take pocket sharpener for you." You know, and I'm saying that line. I'm like, that's horrible.
Yes, that is
not cool, man.
Wow. See, if they say let it play, then if they leave the room and they don't care if it's paused or not, that's when you know what you get. But you guys get in the comments and you let us know. All right. And if you appreciate what we're doing for you, the sacrifices we're making, watching this stuff, please, like the Dad Panther said, like, subscribe, hit the alerts button, join the collect community. And we will be honest with you going forward. We do this for you, so you don't have to. But if you still go watch it, you watch it at your own risk. Like you heard it from us. Dad Panther gave it a 2. I gave it a 1. You're cordially invited. Available on Amazon Prime. This is the Critics Collective. I'm Legacy Lingo. I got the Dad Panther here, and we will see you guys on the next one.